Hey, I wanted to be talking about advice for young producers because that's a question that I receive quite often these days on social media. Younger guys hit me up asking me, "Hey, I'm a young producer. Do you have any tips for me?" And it's not really a bad question, but it's not something I always. It makes me feel like, what do you really want to hear? Like some quick mixing tips or something, and it's not really something that you can just write, type and like make it really short and snappy. So here's a few points. These are not in any particular order. I just wrote these down and I thought that I would just go through them. And here we go. My tips for young producers: make a lot of music. I mean, that's obvious, but that's the way how you're going to find out what you want to do and what your style is. It's often when you're working on something that you come up with some stuff and realize that, hey, wow, that's going to be my thing. And a lot of the things that you make in are like you're going to come up with these happy accidents that may actually become a part of your sound. So definitely make a lot of music. That way you're going to figure out how you're going to make it, and it's also essential for your workflow. And I always say it's better to make, for example, it's better to make like 6 songs in 3 months than 3 songs in 6 months, because it's never that one song that you're going to work on forever to make it perfect that's going to make a massive impact. And this relates to my previous point of making a lot of music, because you're like every song is different. You're going to learn more from that, like a learning. I mean, I always say that quality comes before quantity, but some things you're gonna just need a bigger quantity for to learn. And just like learning to make music takes the quantity thing. So definitely. And one very central thing is make it from the heart and not for the charts. Sometimes I see people say things like, "Hey, I've been making music for 2 years and I haven't been signed to any record label. Should I quit?" And the very blunt answer to that would be yes, you should quit, because your motive is wrong. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm gonna say all of the guys who actually get successful by any means, by any measure, they start making music just because they love it and they just want to make it happen themselves and enjoy the magic of making music. So chasing success is not their primary goal, which means that if there is no success coming, it's not going to get very discouraging for you, because you still want to make it for yourself, because that's why you started. If you love music, you're going to be making music. Like I've always said, even if nobody liked my stuff or bought it or listened to it, I would still make it straight up till the end, because I love making music. And I just want to, the thing for me is I want to, so I don't know how it's gonna sound, but I want to impress myself with the stuff that I do. I just want to hear the music that I would buy. That's the basic rule, and I keep doing that. That's the most rewarding thing for me in this life. I mean, think about it, because when I think back to the guys who say, "Should I quit?" I always say, think about the things that you do for fun. Think about like when you put a lot of time on playing a video game. You did it because you loved it. And think about this: there is no end result. There is no goal in a way in doing things that are fun. And music for me is one of those things. I've been making music since 1992, if I recall correctly. So it's been 25 years or so, and there will never be a goal. There is no finish line, and that what keeps me going. And really, one thing relating to mixing is have a few very strong reference songs that you learn. I mean, take a few songs by producers that are very very strong, and learn to learn how to make your music sound like those songs, because that's your best teacher. That's how I became a mixing and mastering engineer. Like, that's how I started. I was making music, and at some point I got really interested in how I can make my music sound like those songs. And I always have a few reference songs in a like in, as a like a montage. I have the clips, and I compared my music to those songs, and tweak and tweak and tweak and learn and how to make it sound like that. So have a few strong reference songs and work with those. Try to learn how to make your music sound like those songs, and that'll teach you a lot. It will take some time, but then when you learn it, once you've learned it, and you're gonna keep it. So definitely, that's one thing. And study music. What do I mean by this? Oh, I've written for myself. Study, don't be lazy. What do I mean by this? There's a whole lot of information out there. Music forums like Gearslots and all types of forums with absolute ton of information on everything. Music production, mixing, production techniques, mastering, and stuff like that. Study. And what do I mean by don't be lazy? Well, every now and then too often I see guys on music groups and whatever asking the most basic questions. Don't be that guy. Study, just put a whole lot of time into it. Study the people whose music you really like, and find out what drives those guys. And I'm not going to say necessarily see what equipment those guys use, because that's an illusion. That's not going to make you as good as them, or give you similar sound. But to study, put a lot of time into it, and make it your passion. Music is a lifelong commitment if you want to be good at it. So yeah, what I used to do, like I spent so much time just reading up on Gearslots about plugins and techniques and stuff, and applying that to my own music. It's very rewarding when you learn and actually kind of get it. Like, hey, now I got this one. And so yeah, study, hunt down all the information you need. Study the people that influence you, and yeah, be your own teacher in a way. And do not get discouraged by lack of praise. May seem obvious, but at some point you may feel like I wanna. I mean, honestly, it doesn't feel bad to get some sort of thumbs up and some sort of validation for your music sometimes, but seriously, we live in a world where the abundance and sort of overproduction of music, saturation of music is crazy. And I think people are not very easily impressed these days. So it's very hard to get like really amazing thumbs up and love and feedback from people, because everybody hears music all the time. So my point is, even if people are not massively bigging up your music, it does not mean that your music is not good necessarily, because it's just that people are hearing so much music. And this comes to my point. I mean, this is the reason why you should not be discouraged by lack of praise. And relating to this, I think this is very important. Do not rely on feedback from people that are your good friends or maybe your musical colleagues. I mean, I found that good friends will never be able to give you a very critical feedback. They just don't have the balls to do it. And I mean, people who want to be nice to you, they will never give you the feedback that you would need, or the sort of like a brutal, honestly critical feedback that would actually develop your skills. You're never gonna get that from friends. And your mom and your girlfriend, they're gonna be your biggest fans, as you know. So, but just don't expect any actually useful feedback from them. And I've also found that some musical colleagues or musical very close friends of mine that do similar things, they never said anything about my music, and that's fine. I mean, But that's the thing. Also relating to not getting discouraged, they won't like because they probably won't say you anything. They won't say anything to you about your music. So don't get discouraged. I think the best feedback you can get is from people who don't have to be nice to you, like total strangers. So if you want feedback, I mean, I personally I haven't cared about feedback for quite a long time. Why? I don't want to sound cocky, but that's the thing. Like I when I make something, I stand behind it 100%, and whether it's going to be praise or hate, I just don't care. But to be honest, it's taken a bit of a long walk to get to that point. So maybe it's not so easy to be such a Buddha at a very early stage. And relating to this, I've written down don't be put down by hurtful comments. The thing is, when you put yourself out there, when you put your music out there, it's going to be out there for everybody, and everybody's going to be listening to it. And on the internet, sad but true, there will always be people who just want to hurt you. I don't know. There's some people who are not doing so well are going to take their sort of hate out on you. So you just got to learn to just let it fall off. Don't take the hurtful comments too hard. Just fuck it. And don't never compare your progress to others, because the thing is, even while it might feel like a sort of logical equation, like this guy is doing this and he's doing this well, so if I'm doing the same amount of work and I should be getting the same results. That is not how life works. We all seem to be walking along different paths, and it's never, it just is not comparable. It literally just, it's not how life works. So don't compare yourself to others in any way, because that is a sure way to misery. I've done that. I've done that many times, like seeing people do good, and I'm like, hey, what the fuck, I've done this and that, and this guy is getting reviews and gigs and shit. But you just gotta let that go, because you're gonna hurt yourself with that. I've done a lot of that, but I put that behind myself, and it helps. I think actually it's like the less you expect, the more you get. And you can see that from different, you can interpret that from different angles, but literally it's like when you're expecting a lot, you're not getting anything. It's happened to me a few times that I mean, I always put work in on my albums. I'm the type of producer who likes to do albums mostly. And there was a point when my expectations were really big after putting out an album. And it's one of those things that's also, it's going to hurt you, because the expectations hardly ever are going to match reality. So I always say, like, I don't want to sound cynical or anything, but just don't expect things. And then that's when the things actually happen for you. Just love the music, put it out, and things will come. But don't expect great things to come, because then, that's another way to misery. So don't do that. And another obvious point, invest in your tools. You know how when you pay for your stuff, like your DAW and plugins and whatever, it's going to make you appreciate them more. You're gonna appreciate what you're doing a little more. I mean, think about it. If you buy new running shoes or a bike or a gym card, you're going to do things about. I mean, relating to those things. You're gonna be working out or running or riding your bike, but if somebody gives you a gym card for free, you might not use it. You get my point. So when you invest in your craft, it's going to give you a sort of a vibe that you actually respect your investment. It's a psychological thing. So pay for your tools. So I think that's it. Those are my tips. As I said, this is my reply to the question that I get every week nowadays, like, hey, I'm a producer, do you have any tips for me? So these are the tips that I wrote down real quick. Like, these are the ones that spring to my mind. And hey, let me know how you feel. If you have anything to add, please add that to the comments. And yeah, so thanks for watching. Hit me up with any comments, hate mail, love mail, bacon recipes, quality coffee links. Hit me up. I appreciate it. Thank you.